24 Central African Time. Timeless music gave you the sounds there of Benjamin Dube. That one features Joyous Celebration, Bambe Lela, Hold On. Dr. Tumi as well coming through with Jesus song. Actually, one of my favorites, as well as CC Winans in there in a little while.
All of them are your favorites.
Luister.
Oh man,
they each do something in my heart.
I feel like you have all of them, as you say. It's a radio presenter thing. Every song is our favorite. But yes, CC Winans, absolutely timeless. In a little while. Oh my goodness, I am obsessed with that song. Of course, we alluded to this earlier. We mentioned that we're going to be continuing the conversation of a healthy church environment and what that looks like. Now, listen. It's a very interesting one, much needed conversation. And we always say this every time we talk with Tina. It's conversations that we wouldn't, we would not really have around the table because we'll step on some toes. But it's needed, like we mentioned, much needed. And of course, we are live on YouTube as well as Facebook. That's CCFM 107.5. Some things we'll be touching on is, of course, what an unhealthy church looks like and what a healthy church environment looks like, and also diving into the importance of systems within a healthy church environment. As always, we invite you once again to join in on the conversation. 061 798 1075.
A very good afternoon to you. Talk time with Tina.
Good afternoon. Gosh, I'm loving that CC Winans song as well. It's like I'm just thinking of how lekker wil ruk there in church. Sorry for the words.
And
it's like the best.
Are you excited for the second coming of Jesus Christ?
Always,
Sure.
always. And I don't
Sure.
want to sound like doom and gloom, but like if you see the stuff that is happening in the world, you're like, dude, the second coming is soon. I know they say that all the time, but it's like you cannot not see the signs.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Are you ready?
I'm ready to be in heaven as well. just
I'm loving
it in heaven.
Loving all the Afrikaans that Romeo has been spewing today
What
on
was the
this
other one?
Tuesday.
Spring in was
Spring
the
in die
other
bad.
one.
Hy's aan hy bad.
And you said that's a ruler.
Hey, see, the people can't see you doing
I
the
was doing
actions,
actions
Romeo.
forever,
We
sorry.
need to make a video and put it out there it's gonna go viral.
Talk time with Tina. Ma'am, it's Tuesday. The week. How's the week been? If you could scale it, like in terms of numbers, where would you say you're at? And your faith also.
Yes, I heard that conversation about faith, and I think I am an butt. I think I laid by the butt for long enough, and it is so funny. Faith is so funny because your situation might not necessarily change, but your inward man changes, and that is like you can't buy that, man. So the peace that I have within situations is it's beautiful.
Sure.
So the situation is the same, but it's like I can't explain. It's fantastic, and it's like Craig and I, we're on the same wavelength. We are like fighting for the same. Not that we weren't before, no. Fighting for the same things, praying for the same things. So it's just, I'm very excited. I am. I truly am. I can't. It's the Lord. It's the Lord.
And I love that. And you can never be the same when the Spirit of the Father is upon you. You have to change. It's necessary.
100%.
And I think, just touching on what you're just saying quickly, when you spoke about the swimming pool there, is that even the man that was there, he had to change his lifestyle after that. Because I'm sure he was around people who were sick. So the conversation had to do with sickness. Where are you in pain now? Like, for long periods of time, and now he had to leave that lifestyle and begin a new one following Jesus.
100%. Romeo, don't you want to swap? Then come I ask questions.
You can ask the question.
Then it's talk time with Romeo. Then you come. No, that was very good, brother. I'm enjoying it. I love it.
On that note, it's part 2 now.
Amen, brother.
We're going to be diving into 061798. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Please do drop your comments as well as we have this conversation. Welcome to Talk Time with Tina.
Yes.
Now I was just going to say, you said it all.
Okay,
cool. I wanted to touch on, I know we already alluded to the fact that we will eventually touch on the importance of systems. Yes. But I think what we didn't really discuss last week was what, I suppose, an unhealthy and a healthy church environment looks like.
Okay, so I just want to add one more to that topic. Like I said, honestly, we can do a series long on this topic. And I want to say once again, we are not out here bashing nobody. It is just so that we can identify what healthy looks like. And that is never a bad thing. So I want to go back to our scripture that we used, Acts 2, verse 42. And I just want to read the first part where it says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching. Now, Craig actually gave me this next part of this information. And he said, John Maxwell has this law of leadership called law of the lid. So in essence, what this means is your church, your organization, your business, you can only ever go to the level at which the leader is. Yeah. So if the leader is at level 4, you will probably go to a level 3, maybe a level 4. If the leader or the leadership is at a level 8, you are going to go to the lid of that leader, which is either 7 or an 8. You can't always go past the leader. If the leader is a 7, you're not maybe going to be a 9 and a 10 for this whole organization. Now, many times I hear people say, yeah, it's the Mensa, it's the people. But sometimes maybe it's the leadership, right? Now, I listen to a lot of sermons and podcasts on YouTube. And I was starting to notice something. I didn't want to notice it, but I just started noticing it, right? So I listened to a good couple of different preachers. But I started noticing that these different preachers, they have like similar themes, right? And they will preach these similar themes every single year. So they'll add on and there'll be new revelation, but it will be the same themes every single year. And I always ask myself, why don't they teach on other things? Because like there's a whole Bible that you can teach on, but they would teach on these similar things. Then I was like, okay, let me turn this to myself, right? So I've been very convicted and challenged by how I study the Bible. So now when I read the Bible, most times it's for me to grow as a Christian, or it's for me to teach other Christians and encourage other Christians. And there's nothing wrong with that. Please, you must do that. The word is there to encourage you. But what I realize is I don't necessarily read the Bible to defend it. And I don't mean sit and argue with other people about why this is right. But I don't read it to go and necessarily witness to people, man. Now give me a mic and a stage and I'm gonna do my thing. One-on-one is like, I don't like it. Yeah. It's so people when they meet me and I'm quiet, it's very weird for them because I just don't do well with one-on-one. And that has always been used as a crutch, right? Because now if I don't want to talk to you, how am I going to witness to you? If I'm sitting on a bus and I like, just ignore me, please. How am I going to even witness to you? If I were to ask someone, if a Muslim was sitting next to you and you needed to defend why you believe what you believe, would you even know what scriptures to use? Yeah. Right? If you were sitting next to a Hindu, or you were sitting next to a Mormon, or you're sitting next to someone else that believes differently to you, would you be able to defend your beliefs, right? Now, if you look throughout Acts, you will see that Paul and the disciples were always out there in the synagogues defending the faith because the Jews didn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. So how did they defend the faith? They weren't arguing with people. They were reasoning with people. How did they do this? They had to quote the laws, right? Yeah. From that was given. So how do we defend our faith? We defend it with the Bible. But would you know what scripture to use in order to say why you believe what you believe? So I am being convicted by how I study. So my lid as Tina was, I'm studying this as a Christian so I can encourage myself and other Christians. That was my lid. And that is a problem, right? So if you think of a church as a whole, what are we teaching? Are we only teaching what is at our lid or how we've been shown how to read the Bible? And please, you must study the Bible to encourage yourself and encourage others. But I feel like we've lost this urgency or importance with letting unbelievers know about Jesus. So why don't we teach this anymore? We are literally in a church. We are just most of the time, and I'm generalizing. If the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it. But most of the time we are speaking to Christians. But then why don't we teach Christians how to go and speak to non-believers, right? Now I'm reading this book. This book is called How to Tell the Truth by Preston Perry, right? So now I want to just read something in here. It's very small. It says, Hebrew Israelites believe Jesus was a man, which he was. Muslims believe he was a prophet, which he was. Mormons believe he was God's son, which he was. Jehovah's Witnesses believes he's the way, the truth, and the life, which he is. None of them deny his existence. They just deny his deity. Jesus was fully human. He was a prophet, he was a son, and he was a savior. He was all of those things, but he was also God in the flesh, and understanding that changes everything in what we believe. And I was like, what scriptures would I like? I know it because I know it and I've experienced it. I've seen Jesus change my life, but I don't know it necessarily to go like, in 2 Timothy 3 verse whatever. Now, I'm not saying, guys, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you must now go study all the religions of the world in order for you to go and better defend the word. But what I'm trying to say is, when in Acts they were listening to the apostles' teaching. So we in the church, we listen to the pastor or the teacher or whomever it is standing at the pulpit. Can you study the word for yourself? Yes, please do so. But the church is only ever going to grow to the capacity that the leadership has grown. So if the leadership's lid is we are only teaching on encouraging you, then that is what we are going to teach. So I go home and study is based on that. It's no one's fault, but I'm just going like, gosh, we're missing the mark sometimes. So wherever the leader is, most times that is where your church is going to be. So us as leadership, in any capacity, whether you are the leadership in your home, it can only ever grow as far as you have grown. So a healthy church, the leadership must go, okay, what other area do I need to develop myself in? Because then that, if I'm a 4, whatever area I develop myself in, I now become a 5 or a 6. Now there's room and there's space and capacity for the members to now move up to level 4 and level 5. But if I stay at a 4 and I'm comfortable with a 4, then I must understand that the congregation that I have is going to be a 3 or less, maybe a 4. Does that make sense?
Which also emphasizes then the importance of good leadership, wouldn't you say?
Yes, 100%. And leadership, we always talk about this. It really starts with understanding you, understanding what is your shortcomings, what is holding you back. And it's not a poor reflection of who you are. You don't know everything. Yeah. And that is fine. You don't have to, back in the day, leadership in organizations, they were like the one person that if Romy was the CEO and he didn't know, he's not going to tell the people that he didn't know. Oh my gosh, he's going to look weak. No, you don't know. That's why you have other people working for you, and that is fine. So in the church capacity, upskill yourself in whatever area it is that you are lacking. Ask God to show you, okay, I'm not at the point I'm saying, okay, Lord, I want to, because I'm seeing so many things on people's statuses that I go like, gosh, where did they find that? Why did I not know that? And I'm going, okay, Lord, teach me to understand how I get to speak to that person, because some of the stuff is a bit wonky. But I realized I wouldn't be able to answer that. It's not that I don't love God and I don't read his word. I just didn't read it in the capacity to go and help someone else understand why I believe what I believe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So many of our churches, generalizing again, we are comfortable being within our 4 walls.
Sure.
We're not going out and the world is dying out there, but it's because maybe some people don't actually know how to go and speak to someone else that doesn't believe what they believe. They know they believe it. They just can't explain why they believe it. They don't know where in the Bible they must go. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, that is how we set the tone for part 2 of a healthy church environment. Again, as Tina has mentioned, if this is for you, if the shoe fits, fantastic. If it doesn't, that's also fine.
Yes.
But the second part of the question, and I think this is very important, the importance of systems within a church. So often, and again, this is just based on my experience, a few of the churches that I have visited, sometimes you find that we're comfortable with not having systems in place. We'll see how we go. We'll trust in the Lord. And there's nothing wrong with trusting in the Lord, but I think it's important to have practical systems that will benefit the growth of the church.
100%.
Thoughts?
Coming out, you're winging everything all the time.
Yeah.
So systems really refers to how we do things. It's the nitty-gritty, it's the nuts and bolts. It is the vision that the church has, the mission, the goals, where they want to see the church going. It is how do we practically carry that out? What does it look like? So it's nice to have a beautiful vision that God gave you, but now the people in the church needs to go and bring that to fruition, right? Not obviously you trust in God and all stuff, but there are practical ways in which goals needs to be achieved, right? Now, within a church, there are very many different systems. First one is, see, like we're talking about leadership. Leadership has a system. So do we know who's doing what?
Worship
Do you
team,
understand what is your role? Do you
Yeah.
understand what is your responsibility? Do you know where your role and responsibility starts and ends? Are you part of the decision making, or are you on level 2? Then you only get to do this decision making on level. Like, do I even understand what level of authority I have within the hierarchy of the church? Is there development training for me? Do I know how to do conflict resolution? So the leadership has a system. How often do we meet? Why do we only meet once every 6 months? Should we meet every 2 weeks? Like, why do we do what we do? Then, like you said, the worship team has a system. The discipleship of people have a system. How are we going to spiritually grow someone? Are we going to have Bible study once a week, every second week? Why are we having it then? Do we just do things because we've always done it this way? If the system is not working, then it's ineffective. Then we're just like literally going along, doing what we're doing. Admin has a system. Sunday school has a system. Visitors has a system. Everything has a system. I always think about it in this way. I like using Sunday school as an example. So let's say Romeo and Natasha runs the Sunday school. But for some reason, this Sunday, they're not going to be able to be there. And maybe I ran Sunday school 5 years ago, and now they desperately need someone to do Sunday school. And they say, Sister Tina, would you be able to run Sunday school this week? I'll be like, sure, I'm available. I mustn't be falling over my feet to figure out, oh, Yana, what did Romeo and Natasha do now? The system that Romeo and Natasha must have must be so well oiled that if Tina walks in there, she will know, oh, last week they spoke on the 10 commandments. You now must do commandment number 9. This is the activity that you're going to use. This is the coloring goetertjies. The students must feedback on like how well oiled is your system. But if I must walk in there and now suck something out of my thumb to quickly keep the kids busy because, we must have Sunday school, then I question the effectiveness of the system. Are people allowed to give you feedback on the system? How often do you get feedback? Is it that once a year, Bosberaad that we have, and now we read last year's minutes of the Bosberaad and we realize like, oh my word, we didn't do this, and this. Is there an accountability system in place? Are people allowed to raise concerns, or must they wait for the quarterly meeting to raise the concerns? So we must just ask ourselves, are the things that we are doing to practically live out this vision, is it as effective as it can be? And if it's not, then we need to change it. We spoke about roles earlier on. Now, this is like a touchy one. Sometimes like Sister Tina, I'll just use my name. Gosh, she's been doing Sunday school for so long. Shame, man. Now go, but is Sister Tina the best person to do Sunday school? It's not an easy thing to talk about, but like at the end of the day, if I'm not the best person to teach the kids what they need to know, maybe we need to question why is Sister Tina in that role. It's not a nice conversation, but at the end of the day, if it is not moving the church forward to where we believe God is telling us to move with the vision that He gave us, then we need to question those things. Sometimes, we just do what we've always done. This has worked 10 years ago. That's great. It's maybe not working now.
Yeah.
What worked last year might not even work now. We need to continuously review how are we measuring if we are actually achieving our vision or our mission or our goals for the year. The simplest thing, honestly, is weight loss. Because, gosh, if my goal is to weigh 75 by the end of the year, and my system I have in place is I go to gym once a week and I eat nonsense every single day, then that's not good. Then I need to go, okay, this is not working. What can I do differently? What do I need to add? Do I need to go to gym twice a week? But for some reason in church, we just let things go. Not all churches, but I've seen it. We just do the same thing year in, year out, whether it works or doesn't work. We just keep doing. I saw something online that says a church system is like our body's nervous system. You can't see it, but without the nervous system in the body, if it doesn't function well, you don't function well. So if the system of the church is not functioning well, the church is not functioning well. Yeah. So systems is very, very, very important.
Especially dealing with the effectiveness coming into that organization, place, building, church that you are in. I want us to continue, but before that, we're going to take a quick music break, a song of music, and then straight after that, we're going to come in and we're going to continue. I want to ask you as well, in terms of, as you spoke about systems, following up and checking in as well with the congregation. Is that something that's only been done to the new members, or are the existing members as well? Is there a system in place to follow up and check up on them? 0617981075.
the entities they represent.
Come on out.
A track there by Osi Tadima. It's titled Destiny. We're quickly going to wrap up the conversation. Thank you so much for all your messages that have come through, your voice notes. Because of time, we're quickly going to wrap this up and then try and get into some of those voice notes. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you to Denver Drea. Thank you, Bertha. Thank you to Cheryl Daniels, as well as Kenny and a few other people on Facebook. Whew, Tina. We are continuing with the conversation. Very interesting one indeed. Now, just to note, if you missed it, we are talking about a healthy church environment. It is part 2. And Romeo, you alluded to this part of the question.
Yep. So just before the break, ask you a question following up and checking in with congregation. Is that something that we do only with new members, or should it also be done with those who are already in the church, been there for a while, our loyal members that attend service as well?
I actually was thinking about, if you think about a workplace, right? The person who is doing the poorest at work, they usually get most of the attention. And the one that is doing well, we go like, no, he's fine. He doesn't need to be checked up on. So we don't always put as much effort or attention in the ones that are doing well. So I think it is both. I think new members and loyal members, or members that have been there for a long time. New members, obviously, because they knew, you want to follow up, you want to make them belong, you want them to know that, look, this is what we do, this is our family. You want to know what are their gifts, what are their strengths that can maybe be used within the church. But then I think also us loyal members that has been there for years, because sometimes we go through things, but because they go like, no, Tina's been there for years, she's fine, we don't need to worry about her. I must stop saying but a good friend of mine said I must stop saying So I think that loyal members and new members, 100%, there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a way where you strengthening the relationship with the current members that has been there for a while. We don't go like, Natasha's new now, yay. Now we neglect Romeo because he's fine. So the short answer for me, yes. Both needs to be checked up on. Maybe the new member a little more at the start, but don't forget that the loyal member is also a human being that goes through life and things happen, and you just want to check, maybe Natasha's doing too much in the church. So maybe Natasha has burnout. Maybe Natasha is busy in 4 departments, and we're like, whoa, why is Natasha so busy? Maybe we need to reduce that because it's taken away from somewhere else. So yes, Romeo, the short answer is both members needs to be checked up on, in my opinion. Yeah.
Thank you for that. 0617981075. That is the number that you can use to engage with us. We're getting closer and closer towards the end. Just under a few more minutes before top of the hour there. I'd love to go back to you, Tina, and just ask you to any closing comments or anything else that you'd like to add before we say goodbye.
Yeah, I was watching. Yesterday I couldn't put this podcast down, and it was a long one, but I was like, it was so juicy. And this lady, her name is Apostle Issy, right? And she speaks a lot about like the end times and generational things and bloodlines and stuff. But she said something that stuck with me. And she said, look here, ma'am, the amount of fallen angels hasn't increased, right? Or the amount of minions that Satan has to do his work hasn't increased, right? So Satan needs to be very strategic. He needs to be very smart with how he does what he does. She says Satan just needs to go and work with one generation. So now that one generation goes, okay, that's actually not so bad. And now we take that upon ourselves. So now that one generation teaches us to the next, to the next. She says by the time it gets to the 4th generation, we don't even question it because we just go like, oh no, this is who I am. Oh no, this is just how we do it. And she wasn't talking about deep, dark things. She was talking just about how we do things sometimes. That if you're in the 4th generation, we just go like, no, but this is how we operate. This is what we do. What do you mean this is not right? Because we have accepted it as a norm. So for me, what I want us to ask ourselves as churches is, have we just accepted certain things as the norm? This is just how it is. Oh no, we live in this dangerous area. The church is not going to be that as effective. why don't we ask the hard questions of why isn't it? What else can we do? And I'm not saying leave God out. That would be the dumbest thing for me to say. You must be led by God. You must be led by the Holy Spirit. But then ask him, how does this look in the real world? How do I equip more people to go and change the world? What does it look like for my church in Delft? What does it look like for my church in Pontyville? What does it look like for my church in Fishhoek? What do I need to do in this area practically in order to get Jesus to more people? If the system isn't working, change it, but be honest about it. Don't just go, this is what we do, because that is how it's been.
Yeah.
No, I don't accept that answer.
Sure.
We can do better sometimes if we are just honest. That we may be a 3 out of 10, we should maybe be a 7 at least. Yeah.
And that's how you see how effective you are within the community. And that's what we want, essentially.
Yes.
Now, of course, if this conversation is something you'd like to share, you can certainly have a look on Facebook and YouTube. That's CCFM 107.5. Repost, reshare, very important conversation. And at the end of the day, I think we all, like we mentioned, want the church to grow. We want to change lives, as a collective, and see the churches go out into the community, over and above just in the four corners of the building of the church. On that note, we wrap up today's conversation and say thank you. This is Tina.
It was lovely. I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me, CCFM.
How do we stay in contact with you?
Cupido Consulting on absolutely every single social media platform: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and what's the other one? Is that all? And then our website, Cupido Consulting.
Where did that one come from?
I don't know. Look here, man. Just go with it, okay? Just go with it. Cupido Consulting.
I love it. I love it. There you have it. You joined us every Tuesday right here on the CCFM Drive. Thank you, family, for choosing CCFM on the way. We, of course, have news at 5.